The Boss's Habit, written and read by Dick Scary. For better or worse, I'm your boss. That's what he said to us at the meeting, but before that happened we had months of questionable behavior. Burned lips and hands told the story of substance abuse, something that was verified by the history he had with the company. Memory loss is a side effect of crack usage, and he was the first to mention his inability to remember things. Still, he was trying to get his life together, and he had been given this third chance. Praise the liberals' optimism. Days turned into weeks, and things that seemed so simple to us became an everyday challenge to him. His attendance was spotty, and his moods became unpredictable. Burned lips and hands were now a weekly thing. "I can't have 2 days off in a row. I'll get into trouble," he says to the bosses. The next week he requests, and is granted, 3 days off in a row. He shows up with black lips and blisters on his hands. I ask him how he is, and he smiles and says, "I screwed up." He takes credit for things that he had nothing to do with, and while the other two get heat for his failures. He disappears for periods of time, but no one seems to care. This increases the workload of his peers and starts to grow resentment. The mumblings begin. Word gets back to him, and now he becomes paranoid. He reads things into everyday actions that have nothing at all to do with him. He calls the meeting. The three of them go onto the roof to talk. He claims that he wants to get on the same page. He rambles, not making much sense to the other two. Then his mood changes. Burned lips and hands are now flailing about in a high school fashion. His voice rises and his eyes are inflamed. He tells one that "you have a bad attitude, and if you hate this so much, you should find another job." He turns to the other and says, "You don't do any work at all. How dare you accuse me of anything?" The two sit quiet and watch this mental breakdown. He looks across the table at them and then says, "For better or worse, I'm your boss." After a few more minutes and a dozen mood swings, he gets a crazy look in his eyes. He looks as though he's about to jump over the table and fight them. He starts yelling at one of the others, putting his burned hands in the other's face. The two get up and declare that they aren't going to listen to this anymore. The bosses hear from both sides. The two don't feel comfortable working with the unpredictable and increasingly angry one. They are asked to keep working with him. Liberal optimism. The two wonder what the lawyers would say if there should be a physical incident. What does the law say about a company that allows a violent and unpredictable addict to continue working alongside people that have stated they no longer feel comfortable doing so? The days pass, and we wonder. Burned lips and hands. Author's note: this is a work of fiction. Any similarity to anyone living or crackhead is purely coincidental. This is meant as entertainment piece for anyone who has ever worked with a crackhead, but it is in no way based on actual events over the last 4 months. Understand that this is just a scenario that was created from the author's imagination and in no way should be assumed to contain any personal truths.